Their main mission, some of them, was to make the training so hard and violent and difficult in the fighting that I would give up and leave.
Some of the most famous movie stars have transformed the entertainment business. Success in their field is due to their larger-than-life adventures in these shows that keep audiences on edge. But Steven Seagal left his mark on this profession and lives a life many dream of. What became of this man whose unconventional lifestyle contradicted many? Segal was born and reared in Lansing, Michigan on April 10, 1952. Patricia Ann Fisher, a medical technician, and Samuel Segal, a math teacher, were his parents. He was born in America but has origins in Siberia, St. Pittsburgh, and other locations, making him multicultural. He and his parents moved to Fullerton, California, after growing up in Michigan until he was 5. Steven had asthma as a child, but following the transfer, his mother, Patricia, said he became better. Later, he attended Buena Park High School and Fullerton High School in California. Steven was labeled a liar throughout his youth for exaggerating his daily activities and personal accomplishments. He claimed to be a pupil of a highly competent Japanese martial arts master. Unfortunately, this instructor died 7 years before Steven, 22, went to Japan. He said he relocated to Japan to avoid being recruited for the Vietnam War and subsequently married a Japanese native to prove it. Would Seagal succeed in his chosen career? Steven wasn't the finest production setmate, according to most. Steven often lost his temper and ego on stage, culminating in violent outbursts. The Executive Decisions cast experienced this unacceptable conduct. He allegedly pushed his co-star John Leguizamo out of anger. His poor working relationship stretched beyond his co-stars to screenplay writers and longtime personnel. One example is his 1991 Saturday Night Live hosting. Steven's longtime co-worker David Spade called him the worst host they have ever had on the show. His terrible taste in humor got him barred from hosting again. Julia Sweeney claimed Steven had the idea to broadcast a play about a therapist who desired sex with a rape survivor. The producers didn't like this, therefore they rightfully rejected his suggestion. His Saturday Night Live demise followed. Again, when filming The Glimmer Man, Steven, who played the terrible guy who kills innocents, decided he didn't want to kill those people. The main character's co-star saved the day by improvising and making this off-script choice appear like part of the movie, but Steven added, "Thank God I didn't kill that guy." The statement was not removed before the movie's premiere, leaving spectators uncertain about which character would do what. This would fail to convey their message to the audience as planned. Conspiracies accompany successful actors throughout their careers. Steven's biggest conspiracy was claiming to be a 17th-century Buddhist master's reincarnation. Unlike Steven Seagal, Buddhist actors like Keanu Reeves, better known as John Wick, never believed in reincarnation. The Dalai Lama said that he believed Steven Seagal was the reincarnation of a religious 17th-century Buddhist. He later made Steven a Lama, second only to the Dalai Lama, who is supposed to have gained enlightenment. However, opponents questioned this so-called rebirth as everything a person renowned for his early misdeeds would be. Steven was found to have donated to the Dalai Lama's school before claiming rebirth. Seagal's allegation would be disproven by Conspiracy if there is a legitimate reason to disbelieve it. Another odd partnership was with the Ultimate Fighting Champion. It began in 2011 when middleweight champion Anderson Silva knocked out a challenger in the first round of their MMA fight with a kick. It would be shocking what happened next. Steven Seagal would say he devised the kick Silva used to defeat his opponent and taught him. Silva's answer was inevitable after his accusations. Silva stated that although Steven was a decent man, which was debatable, he had started practicing on that kick before he met him. Unfortunately, Steven would try to take credit for Octagon events again, challenging two-time champion Randy Couture to a match. Randy would call Steven's bluff and ask him why he wanted to fight him in a secluded spot where nobody could observe. The UFC superstars had been fighting Steven, which irked Ronda Rousey, one of the greatest women's mixed martial artists who had fought and won against WWE's Triple H. In the late 1980s, Sean Connery said that he needed to study Aikido, which Seagal claimed to be a master in, for a James Bond film. Connery learned this skill from Segal to improve his performance in Never Say Never Again. Connery first believed Segal was knowledgeable because he easily threw his opponents to the ground and twisted their joints. He tried to learn from Segal and was becoming better, until Segal snapped in anger and broke Connery's wrist. One advantage is that Connery didn't realize his wrist was fractured until months after filming. He said his recovery was delayed. Segal got the same punishment he gave Connery when another actor smacked him too hard in the face. Although the punch hurt, Segal continued casting, saying the show must go on, and that he knew the dangers before signing up. Segal also had a feud with the Dirty Dozen, specifically their leader Wall, who believed Segal had insulted the other 7 major arts like karate, judo, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, and others, which meant he had insulted their practitioners. While in his peak, Segal was one of the most acclaimed actors. Inspired by the inspiration, Wall formed the Dirty Dozen with 11 other elite martial artists. But when their much-anticipated confrontation came, Wall withdrew, saying he wanted to settle their dispute. Segal's journey to the top was admirable, but his demise would mar his otherwise pleasant life. Segal's grappling training began with Bruce Lee's judo coach, Gene LeBell, who later trained Ronda Rousey in the ring. So where does Segal fit in? The short film LeBell and Segal starred in allowed Segal to challenge LeBell and try to choke him out. LeBell had starred in over 1,000 movies and TV series and was a skilled veteran in various skills, yet he wasn't a coward. They fought, and LeBell got Segal in his deadly rear naked choke grip. Segal tried to escape this grip by punching LeBell in the crotch with his famous Aikido maneuver, but LeBell was unconcerned and had Segal barely conscious and on the ground in no time. After losing big to his opponent, Segal made a mess and showed everyone how much he hated losing. He denied the fight, but it took him a long time to answer, revealing a different narrative. The battle was confirmed genuine by those who saw cocky Aikido expert Steven Seagal get beaten by LeBell and brazenly act childish while not accepting his loss. We said that he lived like an action movie on and off set. A reason exists. You may have watched Steven Seagal fight bad men on national or local TV, but he also met the Gambino crime family. Segal and Julius Nasso created many outstanding movies in the 1990s, but all good things must end. Segal broke up with Julius as their relationship soured, but the Gambino crime brothers intervened. Julius was ordered to pay $150,000 for all his films. Segal was always obstinate. Sometimes you don't make the most heroic decisions when your life is at risk from a shotgun. He paid the mob $700,000 and the case went away, but Segal's evidence helped convict the crime brothers. Later in life, Segal didn't seem to mind sleeping with dangerous individuals, such as Vladimir Putin, his close buddy. They met at a 2003 film festival in Moscow, Russia, and immediately clicked since they both loved martial arts. Putin has a grade 8 black belt in judo, whereas Segal is a purported Aikido master. Since they shared this, they became close friends, even to the point that Putin asked Barack Obama to make Segal a mediator between the two nations they both ruled, but Obama rejected this move due to the problems it would cause. That shows their friendship's depth. Segal believes Putin is a wonderful man who did what would make him one of the most loathed individuals in the movie business. Others see him as a tyrant who willingly abused human rights. He would endorse Russia's 2022 moves against Ukraine as fair. Seeing how this conflict has affected different locations makes it plain why people would despise this man for such things. Their friendship grew so strong that in 2022, when the Russian president ordered nuclear missiles, an invasion of Ukraine, and the killing of many innocent people to end the war, he called it good leadership. He has also performed in Russia and participated in several of its noteworthy events. Segal is also under FBI scrutiny. This began when New York Times writer Anita Bush began probing Segal's private problems in relation to Julius Nasso. Anita saw a terrifying scene on her car windshield before the FBI got involved. A dead fish, a rose, and a stop sign were what she saw. Anita, like everyone, was terrified and went to the FBI. The FBI would step in and investigate. It was first assumed that Segal hired Detective Anthony Pellicano to terrify Bush and paid a thug to threaten another reporter, Ned Zeman, with a loaded revolver. Due to inadequate evidence tying Segal to the case, the FBI turned to Pellicano, who was suspected of intimidating and eavesdropping on celebrities. Segal's acting career plummeted after being associated to the case, even though the claims were dropped. He wanted a public apology from the Bureau for hurting his career, but they never responded. Interestingly, Segal is a skilled blues musician. He founded Steven Seagal's blues band and plays guitar. The band debuted in 2005 with songs from the Crystal Cave, which included the controversial songs Music and Girl, It's All Right. Some critics called the album strange, while others thought it was far from classical blues. Law enforcement was another startling Segal appearance. Over 20 years, he was a Louisiana police officer. Steven Seagal Lawman, his 2009 national television program, brought his stated passion of the law to the big screen. He invited Officer Joe Arpaio to the reality program in its third season. Joe was an officer of Maricopa County in Arizona and had a significant and rising media presence, but the show's stars' actions were unpredictable. Arpaio was theatrical, so he helped his detractors by organizing a non-warranted raid on the home of local cockfighter Jesus Lovera. The attack destroyed several of Lovera's homes, but the pair's next move raised concerns. Even though Lorenza had over 100 roosters, Arpaio and his soldiers mutinied them all and killed his 11-month-old dog. Lorenza was furious at the men's actions and filed a lawsuit directly against the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office and demanded an apology from Segal, but the lawsuit and demands were quickly waived after Lovera was found guilty of cockfighting. In addition to his career, Segal supports vegetarianism and has a surprising affection for animals. He says he has always had a great connection to animals and has attempted to utilize his position to improve how big, affluent organizations treat animals. He would even claim that when he enters a room, he feels that the others there perceive him as distinct creatures and that they were correct since it was their viewpoint and theirs alone. In 1999, he personally campaigned to prohibit South Africa from exporting newborn elephants to Japan. A respectable effort since he succeeded and received a humanitarian award for animal rights. He also petitioned Thailand's government to end newborn elephant torture and won another medal. One of his experiences was with a soothsaying dog. He stated the dog warned him by barking at Segal after meeting him, and it turned out the dog was right since his Aikido dojo was going to burn down. The dog disappeared after Segal extinguished the fire before it caused significant collateral damage. This event is questionable because he was engaged in the raid that murdered an 11-month-old by police. Segal was accused and sued several times, some dating back to the early 1990s. One case claimed sexual harassment. In May 1992, while filming Out for Justice, everything all culminated. Nicole Sellinger, Christine Keeves, and Rayanne Malone, Warner Brothers workers, accused Segal of sexual assault. Nicole and the other ladies settled out of court for $50,000 apiece to keep things quiet. At the same time, over 4 actresses accused Segal of making sexual approaches during late-night meetings. A woman accused Segal of sexual misconduct during an audition for Under Siege 2. She said Segal urged her to strip for an audition. Segal was sued again in 1995. He was accused of sexual harassment, employment discrimination, and breach of contract this time. In her lawsuit, Cheryl Schumann accused Segal of threatening and assaulting her on deadly ground. Fortunately, Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Hiroshi Fujisakin rejected the lawsuit in 1995 for being confusing and repetitious. Segal was sued again in 2010 with charges that might ruin his career and life. Caden Nguyen, 23, filed this complaint in April 2010. She sought $1 million in damages for sexual harassment, unlawful trafficking of girls for sex, failure to prevent sexual harassment, and wrongful termination in her action. Segal denied all of these claims. Steven Seagal was suspended from his reality program while fighting the claims, which cost him a lot. Suddenly, Nguyen dropped her claim on July 14, 2010 without explanation. Segal was sued again the next year with a fresh claim. On August 30, 2011, Jesus Sanchez Lovera filed this claim. Lovera sued him for his role in the Maricopa County police raid on her home for cockfighting. Lovera demanded $100,000 for raid damages and a letter of apology from Segal to his children for losing their pet. Lovera said the raid killed his 11-month-old. This claim against Segal was rejected in January 2013. Segal faced new sexual harassment allegations, the truth of which is unknown. In 2017, actress Portia de Rossi said Segal assaulted her during a movie audition. She said that while auditioning in Segal's office, he stressed the importance of on-screen and off-screen chemistry before unzipping his pants. Katherine Heigl appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live on April 18th. She also said that Segal made a pass at her on the last day of filming Under Siege, saying he had a 16-year-old girlfriend. Kimmel responded by showing a promotional tour photo of Segal's hand on Heigl's breast while posing. The public was stunned when actress Rachel Grant revealed a secret in January 2018. She told the disturbing account of her meeting with Hollywood legend Steven Seagal with a sad heart. Before filming Seagal's Out for a Kill 2003, Grant remembered a frightening occurrence in 2002. Grant said Seagal reportedly frightened her and cost her her film part. Seagal's interest grew as Grant's claims circulated. The next month, the LA County District Attorney confirmed his investigation, starting a turbulent legal road. Grant was not alone in her struggle. The echoing corridor of time included another voice. Regina Simons revealed her Seagal incident in March. Simons recounted a shocking 1993 episode with losing her virginity. She described claimed assault during Seagal's On Deadly Ground rap party when she was 18. The wheels of justice turned under the weight. September ended hopes of legal revenge. California's statute of limitations precluded Segal from being charged in the Simons case despite increasing evidence. 2 months later, justice grappled with the past and present, and Grant's allegations suffered the same fate. In an unexpected move, the SEC made a key disclosure concerning Steven Seagal on February 27, 2020. SEC claims of egregious carelessness put the famous actor in legal danger. Seagal was found guilty of concealing money from an initial coin offering investment. Bitcoin 2 Genera. The SEC said that Seagal received $250,000 cash and $750,000 B2G tokens. In exchange for these funds, Seagal eagerly promoted the ICO on social media and sponsored a press release for the firm. This activity violated federal securities laws, specifically the counterclaim, regulations on advertising. Seagal neither verified nor disputed SEC results despite the serious charges. However, he settled the matter and accepted SEC requirements. Seagal paid $157,000, his advertising salary, as part of the settlement, pre-calculated interest. He was fined $157,000. Seagal also pledged not to promote digital or other securities for 3 years. Seagal's career changed when he was fined and barred from supporting the ICO. Steven Seagal's erstwhile friend, filmmaker Julius R. Nasso, orchestrates a legal nightmare including fraud and extortion. Their relationship deteriorated, ending bitterly. Since 1990's Marked for Death, Nasso has produced 7 Seagal films and had a close relationship with him. It seems Segal-Nasso Productions was successful. Later in the partnership, fissures appeared and their relationship deteriorated. After the arrangement ended in 2000, Nasso claimed Segal owed him $3 million for canceling a lucrative 4-film pact. Nasso joined the Gambino criminal family to reclaim what he felt was his. Gambino family commander Anthony Ciccone paid Segal foreboding visits, including a terrifying meeting on the Exit Wounds location in Toronto. In January 2001, Ciccone dragged Segal into a Brooklyn diner to sign a 4-picture pact or risk a $150,000 per film fee. Segal was advised that refusing would result in death to underscore the threat. Segal avoided Ciccone with a hidden weapon, escaping impending danger. Segal sought comfort from an unusual friend to end the horror. He asked Genovese crime family leader Angelo Prisco to mediate. Casarino, Ciccone, and others were convicted of labor racketeering and extortion in a March 2003 trial. Segal heroically testified to convict the offenders. In August 2003, Nasso pled guilty to racketeering conspiracy and was imprisoned. In January 2008, Nasso withdrew a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Segal in an out-of-court settlement. Despite the deep scars of fraud and extortion, Segal emerged stronger and determined to go on. Celebrities that leave an impact on their professions are always examined for their work and personal life to determine their legacy. Given his frequently contradictory psychological and behavioral traits, Steven Seagal had both a great and a terrible legacy. Fantastic because he was a great performer and left an impact in martial arts, animal protection, law enforcement, singing, and other areas. However, his bad side, from being a compulsive liar early in childhood to being aggressive and sexually violated, overshadows his nice side. It's clear that Steven has conflicting feelings about him based on all he's done in his personal and professional life, and his true nature will always be unknown. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts on this video in the comments.